Just have to take a quick minute to thank our sponsors, Yellow Dog Paddle, Mackin's Rippin fishing trips, Xpedition Fly Fishing, njfishing.com, and 8-Ball Sportfishing. Also have to thank our supporters, Mike K's Guide Service, Psycho Jigs, Lip Glue, FC Fish Company, Nor'easter Hardcore Apparel, Toggy Time Jigs, the Mimmi Sick, and the Gambler. Eight-Ball Sportfishing out of Point Pleasant. Chris finally just got to fish with Captain Dom for the first time and his mate Kim. Had an awesome time, limited out the boat. Chris took a couple rookies out there that have never even seen the ocean before, and even they limited out. Tons of availability, tons of flexibility, and very affordable price. That's why we like 8-Ball. We're going to use them a lot. He does striper fishing trips with mini rods, which is really interesting. I want to try that. He also offers striper fishing trips right after work for anyone who just wants to jump on after work. Really low prices. Does shark trips for a different price. Obviously, you have to go farther for sharks. But yeah, 8-Ball basically can cater to all your six-pack charter fishing needs except blackfish. He doesn't do that. Mike Herman continues his hot streak. I am still waiting for my negative review to come in so I could bash him a little. I still can't get one. Another monster fish over the weekend for another customer. On fire. He's still offering the fishing lessons if you have your own boat and want the trolling set up, how these guys run these mini spreads out here in Jersey. He'll teach you all that. You could book him for lessons. Also has the frequent flyer pass. You can go for a couple different trips at different seasons for different fish at a more affordable price because you're obviously buying 3 or 4 trips. Check out yellowdogpaddle.com and book your trip on Round Valley Reservoir with Mike Herman today. Hello and welcome to episode number 105 of the NJ Multispecies podcast. I am your host, Joe Santiago. As always, my partner, Chris Pereira.
Here I am again.
I did not fish this weekend. I was in Hershey Park with my family. Chris, you did fish. You were out for opening day sea bass season with 8-Ball.
Yeah, man. It was awesome. And, I picked up that trip pretty late, probably just not even 2 weeks before the date. I couldn't believe nobody grabbed that date. But once I found that it was open, I grabbed it up thinking I'd have no problems filling the trip up. I started asking people, and I just kept going down the list, asking everyone that I fished with before, and everyone was busy already. Like it was too short notice, I guess. Got Alex off the Mayhem page. He found out about it when I posted it. He jumped on. He said his buddy wanted to go out. His buddy joined him.
That's Alex Omnivar?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. He's cool.
Yeah. And then a coworker of mine that I've never fished with, but I've talked to him. He likes fishing. I'm like, dude, you want to go on this trip? He said, yeah. He asked if his dad could come. I said, yeah. I need one more spot. And I had another coworker of mine had told me recently that his dad had just retired recently and had never really fished much before, but really wanted to learn how in like his retirement. So I'm like, dude, as long as he wants to, like if he's into learning about saltwater fishing, there's no better way to start than going for sea bass, in my opinion. And it's opening day, like it should be good as long as you go out with a good captain, which we were. So that was the crew. So I had 2 guys that had never really fished before, because the other coworker's dad had never really fished much before. Come to find out, he'd never ever been on a boat in the ocean, and within, I'd say about 45 minutes in, after he caught a bunch of fish, because we started off real hot, His back started bothering him, and then he got seasick. He ended up puking. But that aside, the fishing was phenomenal. I mean, Captain Dom had gone out the week before scouting spots. Dude, he probably saved us 3-4 hours of searching time for that. He knocked off a couple of spots that were just dead that usually would have been good this time of the year. Which, I mean, I've gone out with guys, they save that exploratory stuff for when you're on the boat already.
Yeah.
Right. He had already done that part. So he asked us to come a little earlier because we had to make a little bit of a trip because the closer spots that he checked were all dead or full of just real small ones. And so we took the long trip up north and we started fishing. Immediate, just dropping reel fishing, basically. No bait needed, just jigs. I had a spare hook. I always put a dropper loop above my jig, and I'll either leave it there ready to have a hook threaded on it, or I'll just put the hook on and I just won't wait to start. Because if I don't have to use bait, I'm not going to. And this was one of those days. The bite was so good, and even Dom couldn't believe this. I kept having the fish eat the bare hook, just nothing on it. I wasn't snagging them. They were eating it, the hook, like in the back of their mouth. Just, I'd jig. I'd have one on the jig, one on the bare hook, both, or one just on the hook. Like, it was crazy. I mean,
you'd have to imagine. I mean, you'd have to imagine a bear fishing hook like wobbling around down there in the dark. Like, it might look like something. It could look like a worm, or who knows? I mean,
I guess it looked like. I mean, it obviously looked like something. They were eating it.
So you guys were limited out by 8 a.m. Now you have fish.
No. Relax. We didn't even. By the time we left early, but it was a long trip. We probably didn't start fishing till almost 8. At least 7:30, 7:45. We were limited out by 10, and that's with one guy who had to sit out like 45 minutes in, and another guy who was just learning how to fish, which he did great, by the way. I mean, for a first time. And yeah, so in about, I don't know, 2.5, 3 hours, the cooler was full, 6-man boat limit with a lot of nice fish. I mean, we weren't keeping 12.5, like pinched the tail. Oh, I got 12.5 on the pinched tail. We didn't keep too many of those. A few at the beginning when you're not sure. You always end up keeping those that just make it. But then after we saw how good the bite was and the size quality, it was just mostly ones that didn't have to get measured. But yeah, I can't say enough. Captain Dom and his mate Kim, I mean, phenomenal. It was a great time. And I wish he had another open spot this Tuesday, which obviously it'll be too late by the time this goes up. But I wish I could make that too, but I can't.
Yeah, me neither, because I have work.
Well, it's an after work. If you can get there by 2, it's an afternoon trip.
No, I don't get out till 3 because we do actually work. I know most people don't believe that, but we do have to go to work. So it looked like a great opening day for sea bass for everyone all around, pretty much.
I'll tell you what, dude. Listening to the radio, a lot of guys complain. I mean, obviously, if you know what you're doing and you're out there, you had a great day. That's the reports you're seeing. Seeing Fishmonger, the both Fishmonger boats, our trip on 8 Ball, and a bunch of the other guys. You're seeing the great reports. When you're listening to the radio and you're out there, dude, the amount of complaints of short sea bass and guys having to pick through short sea bass, I don't know where they were, but
I mean, there's a lot of numbers, and if you get on that wrong pile, you could be sitting on hundreds of 10-inch fish. It could happen to anyone as they move around.
Yeah, but you know what? I also think that a lot of guys just default to these bait rigs, and a lot of the times that's not how you single out those bigger fish.
Yeah, with the jigs.
The jigs
more fun anyway.
Yeah, well, it seemed to also be more effective at getting the bigger ones.
Well, all right. So we have the Gambler coming up this weekend to go sea bassing. 65 of us. Tonight's interview will be with Captain Bogan, the captain of the mighty Gambler. So it'll be pretty cool to interview him.
It's going to be awesome.
It is going to be awesome. I'm getting stoked for it.
I got to be honest. Wait, I got to be honest. Like last year we did this trip for the first time, and I hand to God, I didn't know whether at the end if he would he called us up to the top, remember? Like he wanted to talk to us.
Yes.
And I swear to God, I didn't know which way it was going to go. I'm like, he's either going to tell us never to step foot on this damn boat again and never wants to see us again or any of these people, or he's going to invite us back. And it turned out it was the second of the two. He had a great time. Everyone had a great time, and he wanted us to come back. And
yeah, I'm excited.
I didn't know which way it was going to go.
Yeah, hopefully it continues to go this way. This time's a lot more people, so hopefully. Before we bring Captain Bob in, I want to touch real quickly on a pretty major event that happened in the fishing world over the weekend. Mike Herman, Yellow Dog Paddle, he was hired to guide another angler in the Round Valley Trout Association tournament. Okay, so basically Mike Herman he's in the RVTA, of course, but now he isn't. He's working as a guide for the guy that's in the tournament. I guess you could use guides for tournaments. Whatever. Long story short, Chris, you were out there Sunday. It was horrendous weather where you were. You could imagine what Round Valley was like.
When I found out people were fishing Round Valley that day, I was baffled because, I mean, we were in this wind vortex. It wouldn't even blow from one direction. It would just swirl us you could ask Dwayne. I actually took a little video of Dwayne riding in the front, just cursing me.
I saw that. Yeah, it's hilarious. Hilarious. I would overlay that video playing right now. Just have it playing.
I don't know how to do that.
Deuce could do it. But this fish has never been seen. Mike's going to post it on Wednesday, so he gets first dibs to the premiere. But it's going to pop up right here on your screen Friday if you could see it. This is one of the biggest fish that the RVTA has seen in years out of a trout. It's a 27-inch rainbow trout. Mike basically told me he was stuck all the way to the back of the lake getting beaten by waves. Could barely control the boat, could barely control the planer boards. He said he had 3-footers throwing shit all over the place. And what had actually happened was he tripled up. He had 3 boards go down at one time. The first one was just a regular 10-inch rainbow trout. He lost it at the rail, gone. Now, the second fish was a nice fish. It's like Mike said, it's around an 18 to 21-inch rainbow. He's like, oh, that's a tournament fish. Get that in. They lose it at the rail. 0 for 2. There's one planer board back out there, and Mike said the flag, he could tell by the way the flag is, it's something big. So in his head, he's going catfish right away.
Yeah.
Guy starts fighting it. He's kind of saying to Mike, he can't move it. He can't move it. All of a sudden the backing starts going out. You know how if you're fly fishing, your flag's up. This guy was losing backing. So Mike is like, what the hell? So I guess Mike started fighting it. I wish Mike was here to tell the story because he told it obviously better. I wasn't there. But long story short, he ended up fighting this fish in, got it up alongside the boat. Mike said when he saw it, he couldn't even believe it was real. You know, what you get that moment when you see the fish come up, you can't believe it.
Well, you always think that the water warps the view of things, and you always think that most of the times you see a big fish in the water, and then when it hits the net, you're like, oh, that's not as big as I thought.
Usually. But I told Mike that's how that lake trout was. That 13-pound laker was when we saw it come up, there was almost a moment where everyone freezes because they don't know it's real. You're like, wait, seriously? That Mike had one of those 27-inch rainbows, a big fish. Most people on the internet, most people that saw the picture, saw the fish, guessed that it was 8-10 pounds, came in at the weigh in just under 7. 7 points, just under 8 in the high 7s. But obviously that one single fish blew the entire trout division away. And Mike said it shows the trend of Round Valley. This trend of these giant fish being caught is continuing on. The only negative report that he did have to say was the new lamprey eels. We've seen lamprey eels before in Round Valley with the flooding, but Mike is saying this time he's seeing more of them, and he's also saying he's seen the biggest ones he's ever seen. So if you are fishing Round Valley and you happen to bring a trout up that has a lamprey eel attached to it, kill the lamprey eel. Don't return it to the lake. And also, Yellow Dog Paddle is available if you want to learn. He is for hire, just like this guy hired him for the tournament. We call him the Herminator. I'm still waiting to bash him when somebody gives me a bad review, but this guy just keeps his fire streak going. So, yeah, you could call Yellow Dog Paddle. If you want to troll trout, this is the guy.
Right. And just to jump back real quick, and I'm pretty sure, I'll have to look into this more, but the lamprey eels are they're native to the tidal, to the river, especially where it's tidal. But that's how they get in. Not that the Delaware River is not tidal anymore, but they come up further, and then when they pump the water in, that's how they get in, obviously, I'm assuming. They don't belong in the reservoir, and I guess they could probably do some damage in there, I would imagine.
They're also really disturbing to look at, especially when you're like, it's 1 a.m. and you're night rainbow fishing. You bring up one, it looks like an alien. Mike said these are two of the ones. Forgot how long he said. It's something crazy, like 6 foot or something. Something nuts. I forgot the number. We'll have to ask Mike for the exact number. He caught
There's no 6 foot lamprey eel in there. That's
3 foot. It was something. It was a crazy. I was so focused on the rainbow trout. I don't remember how long the lamprey is, but he said within 10 days he caught 2 over something. He said they're just enormous this time, real big. So if you are fishing around Valley and you see a lamprey eel, do not return it to the water. Have it killed immediately. I think Captain Bogan is ready to come in. Deuce, are we ready to bring him in? All righty. Eddie Mackin's Rippin' Lips Fishing Trips. I got it right again. I'm getting really good at saying it. The fishing on Hopatcong's been on fire, and I'm not professional at it, neither is Chris, but Eddie Mackin is. That's what he does almost every day. If you want to fish Lake Hopatcong, now is the time to call Eddie Mackin. Me and Chris both tell you we both wait all year for these 2 months right here. This is the prime time show. It's the time to not sleep. If you want to catch giant hybrids and walleye on top water, it is the time to call Eddie Mackin's Rippin' Lips Fishing Trips. Right now, pick the phone up, call him right now. Okay, so we have our guest ready to come in. Pretty famous boat, well-known boat through New Jersey, the Gambler, been around since 1965, and we're pretty honored to have its current captain here, Captain Bob Bogan. Welcome to the NJ Multispecies podcast. It's great to finally have you here.
Good to see you both.
Good to see you too, Captain.
Thanks for inviting me.
Captain, just before you came on, we were talking about it. Last year was the first time we decided to do a group trip. I don't even remember how exactly it came to be that we chose the Gambler. We're both wearing our Gambler shirts. Everyone's real excited for the second version of this Saturday. But Chris was saying when you called us upstairs at the end of the trip, he was very nervous that you were about to tell us to never come back ever again. But we are coming back, so you must have enjoyed it.
Yeah, that was a fun trip, right?
It was, yeah.
It was fun for us. I just didn't there's a lot of nut jobs on there, including ourselves. And
it's all about having fun. We don't like rowdy stuff, but it's good to have fun rowdy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I didn't know if someone left a steamer on the floor of the head or something like that. I didn't know what you wanted to talk to us about, but it was all good things, and we 100%.
have plenty to pick his brain with. Our viewer base really enjoys party boat captains. Party boats are like an integrated part of New Jersey fishing. They're like a huge, in some families, they're tradition. It's a whole history thing behind it. Some people don't fish on party boats at all, but the ones that do, there's like a very long involved history with it, and the Gambler is very like intertwined into the New Jersey party boat fishing. Like it's just one of the boats that everyone knows.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we try to keep it up and put ourselves out there and do a good job.
And you said this is the third Gambler boat, and then you started telling us a little bit of history, and we kind of cut you off and said, let's save that for the recording because it was a cool, some cool background.
Yeah, sure. So in 1965, my dad bought the first Gambler. And a lot of people ask me, why Gambler? Why that name? Well, I think it's kind of a cool name because a lot of times when you go fishing, it's a gamble. But the story goes that my grandfather and my dad were buying it together. And they said, my grandfather said, well, this is going to be a big gamble. And that's how it got its name. That's the rumor anyway.
I always remember, because I was probably like in high school, maybe. I couldn't drive yet. And everyone always, oh, we got to go to the Atlantic Highlands and go on the Prowler. It's the fastest party boat you could get on. And then I remember all of a sudden when I got my driver's license and I could drive down the shore, and I said, oh, I'm going down the shore to a party boat on the fastest party boat. All of a sudden, someone said, no, that's not the fastest party boat anymore. The Gambler is now the fastest party boat. And now I believe 25 years later or whatever, it's still the fastest party boat, correct?
As far as I know, yeah. We had that boat built in Maine, and I tried to talk the builder out of putting 4 engines in that thing. 750 horsepower engines with 4 shafts. And I said, well, why 4? Like, why not 2 big engines or 3 engines? And he said, look, I worked with a marine architect, and this boat is so wide, and it's super wide, as you guys know.
Yeah.
And this boat is designed for 4 engines. And, we went back and forth, and I had a choice of what company to go with. And he was leaning towards Detroit, and there was Caterpillar out there and everything. But ultimately, we decided on Detroit, and it's been a good choice. I mean, those engines have 25,000 hours on them in 20 years. Yeah.
Oh.
And, they're still running good, just taking care of them.
Now, you said you've had the same engines for 20 years?
Yes. Yeah.
Because I don't know anything about these bigger diesel engines, and all I know about like the outboard engines is just the small ones I've had on freshwater boats and the bigger ones that my friends have had on saltwater boats. Like, they don't last any, like, I don't know any of them that last that long. Is that normal for the bigger engines, or are these things just workhorses?
Diesel engines tend to last longer, and I don't really know all the details about that, but they tend to, and it's a lot of it's just having to do with oil changes and not overrunning them. Mechanic once told me the more fuel that you put through an engine, the sooner it's going to wear out. So like if I'm like running, say 50% RPM or 50% load, I'm still going 17 knots, which is pretty amazing.
Now,
plenty fast enough.
Having that much speed gives the Gambler the versatility where it can go from a fairly simple inshore sea bass trip to now where you turn the boat over, put the bunks out, and you're going way offshore. You guys do some serious offshore stuff.
Yes. Yeah, it's really nice for the tuna fishing to get out there quick, And
you do a lot of tile fishing too, right?
Tile fishing in the springtime mostly. We target them in the spring. But yeah, it does make a big difference having that speed. You know, it used to be with the previous Gambler, it was we were doing like 13 knots, and most of the boats at that point towards the end were faster than us. And it was just kind of like, all right, you know, people were patient with me because they liked fishing with us on the Gambler. But I knew it was time to either make a change or get out of that business, the canyon business. So.
Yeah, I guess people are that picky about how quick it takes to get there, huh? I would have figured they'd just fall asleep and just wake up with.
Yeah, a lot of people, you know, you try to tell people to take some rest on the way out because it's such a long ride and they're going to be fishing for so long. Like if we're doing a 30-hour trip, you think about it, you could have up to 20 hours at the rail.
Yeah. I'm planning on going to sleep. When I'm going tuna fishing, even my buddies, like I'm bringing my beanbag chair and I'm planning, like it's part of my routine. Like I'm planning to go to sleep.
Right.
Until we
I've never done, I haven't done a trip like that yet. I have to do one eventually, and it'll probably be on the Gambler when I do decide to do it.
When does
Bob,
your, hold on.
What?
When does the tile season typically start coming to an end for you guys?
Well, for us, we're going to stop. We have one more trip at the end of the month here that we're going to make, and I still have room on that, by the way.
Joe.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, we'll see.
One more.
It's possible.
And we still have room on it, but
I only count as a half.
The thing with the tilefish is they'll stay out there. They don't move. But I went a little too early this year. I started in April, and we got killed with dogfish out there. It was like we couldn't get away from them. So next year, I'm just going to be doubling up my trips in May, early May, and not do April at all. I'll just stick with the blackfishing in April.
And are they? Sorry, are they as I've fished for them in the summer and they're like super deep. I mean, they could be up to 600 feet deep. Is it the same deal in the spring too? Or are they a little bit shallower?
Yeah, well, we can catch them like as shallow as 450, but a lot of times we're finding them between 550 and 750.
So it's pretty much like similar to summer too. So.
Right.
I have a question from Jerry Zagorski from njfishing.com. He wanted to ask, the Bogan name is very well known, not only on the Gambler, but among several other boats in New Jersey. He wants to know what drove all of the Bogans into this business.
Well, the story from, if I have it right, is Bogans had rowboat business, like a rental boat business up in the I think it was Jersey City, and one of them, I believe John Bogan, the first John Bogan, moved down to the shore and decided to try, see if it would be successful down here, and they started with a little 45-foot party boat, and it went from there. And
like what year? Like ballpark?
I'm gonna say definitely early 30s, if not before that. They moved down to Brielle. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
And this one, what relation is that to you? That's like an uncle or grandfather.
So the original John Bogan had sons. And my grandfather, my grandfather's father was actually a fireman still up in the city, in Jersey City, I believe. And but my grandfather, he would come down to the shore and work on the boats with the Bogans there. So one of his uncles, and then he just got into it, took off with it. He started working for them, and then he wound up buying his own party boat. And then he moved from Brielle to Point Pleasant, which is where we are now.
It's so cool to learn history about this stuff. Like you wouldn't even think about it. It's unbelievable.
No, I feel like the Bogan family tree is just like got to be
It's intertwined. That's what it's all intertwined so much with New Jersey fishing.
Right.
I want to put you on right on the spot here, Captain. Palomares Rods donated a beautiful rod for this trip to give away to someone. Who should get it? How do we give it away? Like, what do you think? Who deserves it?
That is a tough one. I don't know if you want to do biggest fish, if you want to do best sportsman.
I wanted to whoever could get one of the sea bass down Chris Lito's pants first. Whoever could get it in there just wins the rod.
Oh no!
Didn't we do that last year? We did that last year, didn't we?
We did what?
We gave something away because somebody threw something in Lito's pants.
Are you serious? No, I don't think it. Really?
Yeah. There's always a prize if you throw something down Lito's slickers. And Captain Bogan, by the way,
ruined the trip for him.
Captain Bogan is the father-in-law of Chris Lito.
That's right.
And Chris also works on the boat, which he'll be there Saturday. And just for everyone who's watching this, Captain Bogan, the boat leaves at 6 a.m. Saturday, right?
On the dot. Won't
6 a.m.
Is there a way to send a message to everyone who signed up for this? Like, do they leave their emails? Can we send like a mass email? Because I feel like someone's going to do a stupid and look at the website and see the normal like time that you leave. Because we've already been asked a couple of times.
We are leaving at 6 to beat the other boats. It's our secret plan.
My wife, Sue, is really on top of all that kind of stuff. So let's remind her to send that email blast. If anybody would keep everybody's emails, it would be her. So she's really good with that stuff.
She is really on top of everything.
Yeah. She even signed you up to do this podcast, and we weren't even sure if you wanted to do it.
She does everything. She does. I think we should interview her next. We should do her.
Yeah.
All right. So between her sending out an email blast, us making another post, just emphasizing that it leaves at 6, then I think we should be good. If you're still late after that, then screw you. I don't know.
Well, and the other thing is carpool as much as you can. That'll help us a lot because the parking lot's not that big. Okay. And there is off-site parking at the inlet, but you would have to pay. So try to get to the lot there. We'll do a good job pulling the cars up and everything, but you got to be mindful of that.
I have one more question I forgot to bring up, and then we'll let you go. We're not
gonna I got one too. All
right, so we got 2. I know in whatever year it was, 2018, when the COVID mandates hit the New Jersey party boats, you guys were very limited to how many people that you were allowed to let on board. When that finally expired and every boat in New Jersey basically went back to cramming everyone on like sardines, the Gambler still holds that kind of COVID number. And so I guess almost like you guys almost still keep the space instead of filling the boat, correct?
Yeah, what we did, we got a lot of feedback from the regular customers, and they don't mind paying a little extra. So we charge a few more bucks, and we've limited it, but it kind of works out because I don't have to carry as much crew as I used to. I used to have 6 crew. Now I have 4 crew, and we charge a few bucks more than some of the other boats, but the customers enjoy it. So they're willing. A lot of them are willing to pay that extra money.
I could 100% vouch. I'm one of the people that's willing to pay the extra couple bucks because there's so much more room, and it's just not so annoying.
Yeah. Now your trip, we kind of went over the number that we would usually have, the one that's going out with you guys, but it'll be fine. It's still like 20 people more or 20 people less, maybe even more, like 30 people less than our capacity before. So we still have extra room.
Plus, we're gonna leave like 10 guys at the dock because they're not going to be there all the time. So
Yep. All right, Chris, what's your question?
All right, so it's not so much a question, but what I want to do. So this episode will come out just a day before we're gonna get out there with you guys for the second annual. I'm calling it the annual gambler trip because we plan on doing this as long as you'll have us until someone does something really crazy and stupid and you ban us. So I wanted to ask you, what would be your advice, right? Because fishing on a party boat is really different. People don't realize it's really different than fishing on a smaller boat. You kind of can take advantage of some certain techniques that are different than fishing on a smaller boat. And I can remember when I first started fishing on some party boats, and then I started fishing with friends on smaller boats, and I adapted, and I didn't really think about it. When I went back onto a party boat after a couple of years of fishing on smaller boats, I did awful. And it was because there was just certain things that you don't really think about when you're fishing on a bigger boat with a lot of other people. And so what I want to ask you is, for anyone listening this one day in between this and the trip, is maybe some advice that you have for someone to like optimize their fishing on a party boat versus something that they may not think about when they're fishing on a smaller boat necessarily.
Yeah, I would say one of the main things is to enjoy the camaraderie. Talk to the guy next to you. Like we've had some people make really close ties. Some of our regulars, they just met on the boat and became really close friends, and they meet up every week even on the boat. And the other thing I would say is talk to the crew. Like I like to go canoe camping, and I go to an outfitter, and I ask 100 questions. Even though I've done it a bunch of times, I like to get as much information as I can. So there's no harm in asking, especially like the crew and the gambler. They're very friendly. Don't be intimidated. Ask away. Yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but
yeah, kind of, and you brought up a good point where like you're asking all these questions about something that you have done so many times, and it's not because you don't know how to do it, but sometimes you get a response or an answer to one of your questions that kind of sparks a memory, I guess, and you remember something, because there's a lot of things in fishing where I know, at least for me, even though you know how to use a certain rig or a certain technique, sometimes that gets forgotten about because you start using something else and you don't go back to it and you forget about it. And all of a sudden someone tells you something or reminds you of it, and you're like, oh yeah, I remember that technique. I wonder, I'm sure it still works. And you go back to it, and all of a sudden it's working. Like now you're the hot hand on that side of the boat.
Yeah, right. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Cat, I wanted to ask this too, and I forgot. Are you experiencing any clam problem? I'm hearing like there's a problem with people getting clams.
There's definitely an issue with it. I mean, the price of them has gone up exponentially. It's crazy what they cost now. Personally, and I don't know, what anybody else thinks, but I really believe that this beach replenishment has done a lot of harm to the surf clam.
Yeah.
I mean, we used to see them like after a storm. I remember, you guys probably did the same thing. After a storm, you go on the beach and you'd see all kinds of clams washed up on the beach, still alive. You don't see that at all anymore. It's almost like it's been sanitized from this beach replenishment stuff. So, yeah, so it's a problem. I don't know if it has anything to do. Maybe the water's getting a little warmer. But I see that beach replenishment as a problem for nature, the environment.
I know for me, at least, I'll be using the jig as long as I get away with it, and I'll be going in between everyone, throwing the jig over their shoulder, and I'll just be annoying as many people as possible around the boat.
I want to reserve the rod holder where the transducer is, the closest rod holder. Captain, I have to thank you really for taking the time to come on here and talk to us. We've wanted to get you on here for a long time. And me, Chris, and everyone who goes on the trip want you to know that we really appreciate it. We have a lot of fun, and we really get excited about it, and we can't wait to go tomorrow. If you're watching this, it's tomorrow.
Yeah. And I just want to add to that and just say, like us anglers, we appreciate the effort that you put in when we go fishing with you. And I know you may want to reply with, hey, it's my job. Of course, we're going fishing. Of course, I'm going to put in the effort. But we all know there's a lot of guys out there that just kind of take you out there. And if you catch fish, you catch fish. And they don't always put in 100% effort. And, the couple times we've gone on your boat, there's always that effort there. And it doesn't mean that you're always going to have the greatest day fishing, but
right.
The real anglers, we know the difference. We know when the captain's putting in the effort and when he's not, and you always put in the effort. And I just want to thank you for that too. And I can't wait to fish this weekend with you. It's going to be a good time.
Thanks, Chris. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you so much, Captain
Looking
Bob.
forward to it.
I will see you in a couple hours.
Right.
All right. Take care, Captain.
Thank you, man.
Xpedition fly fishing. Joey X, the fly fishing continues to get better in the Catskills. We're getting right into the heart of it. If you ever wanted to learn how to fly fish, or you just wanted to fly fish in the Catskills, now's the time to go. If you call Joey X now and tell him you saw the podcast, he'll give you $50 off. Catering mostly to the West Branch with his beautiful drift boat, but he will do the Willowemac and Beaver Kill in waders. Total fly fishing experience. Does not welcome spin fishermen. So if you don't use a fly rod, he won't take you. He doesn't care. Fly fishing only. He's got balls. We love Joey X. So yeah, call Xpeditions Fly Fishing today for your next fly fishing trip in the Catskills. So yeah, pretty awesome. Like I said, we got to try to get more of the party boat captains on because they are so intertwined. I wanted to bring up this with him too, and I wanted to get your opinion, Chris, with this because it kind of goes in line with the Gambler. I wanted to talk about it while he was here, but of course I didn't. I was talking to Nick D the other day. I don't know exactly how to spell his how to say it. Devereaux. It might be Devereaux. If I'm right, that's how you say it. He's on the Fishmonger all the time. We were talking about you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Talking about black fishing. And I was just telling him about, you ever been to Cape May? The fish are so much bigger. Or there's a lot more bigger ones, however I put it. And he came back to me and said, yeah, I know, but I'm real loyal to my local home waters, and I really want to catch my first, big fish right here off this boat. And I think that mentality's there with a lot of guys. They don't want to move around all over. They want to go on this one specific boat, and that's just what they want to do all the time. Like me and you are kind of always moving all over the place because we're chasing different shit. But there is this, I don't know, what would you call it? You can't, it's not a cult, but it's they're just they're fans of the boat. They're regulars. They call it regulars.
He only goes on Fishmonger? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not using him specifically, but just that ideology that he gave me that he's loyal to his waters, those boats, he's going to stay in that area. That's where he wants to catch the fish. I think that there is a kind of a mentality behind a lot of guys like that. There's probably guys that want to catch their first tilefish, but they want to catch it off the Gambler. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, no, I know what you mean. And I've heard that same mentality when it comes to, and I kind of have a similar mentality in a way where here's an example. So a couple of years ago, I was fishing in upstate New York and I caught a giant walleye. I mean, I think it was 32 something inches. It was a little skinny. It didn't weigh as much. I forget how much it weighed. I think it was under 10 pounds, but the length, it was 32 inches and it just wasn't fat to weigh a lot. But anyway, it was just this giant walleye, right? Like bigger than any walleye I've ever caught. And my personal best by, almost 4 inches. And it didn't, obviously it was awesome, but it didn't mean as much to me as like the 28.5-inch walleye that I caught in Lake Hopatcong in New Jersey.
Oh, well, if you can see right there, if you see that brown trout on the wall behind me, that's a 21-inch brown trout. I've caught a 25-inch brown trout last year. In New York, I've caught countless browns over 21 inches, and they're not mounted, but they're meaningless. Like that fish is from the Ramapo River, where I learned to fish, and it's 21 inches, and there it is. I guess now I'm agreeing with the mentality.
That's what I tried. I tried to get you to understand it from that aspect, because I know we both kind of have certain things where a fish may mean more to you in a certain way. But
that was the first fish I ever had mounted. That was the one I showed in Fisher magazine. It was a 21-inch brown from the Ramapo River. I caught a 25-inch brown in another river, but I know that it just swam out of a club, so it doesn't mean that much to me as this 21-inch one does.
Yeah, and like if I caught a 30-inch plus walleye, a 32-inch especially, if I caught that walleye in New Jersey,
that's insane. That's crazy,
a replica would be hanging on my wall.
How big was it? It was 32 inches?
It was over 32 inches. But it was under 10 pounds because it was pretty. Was
it in one of the Great Lakes or no?
It was in a tributary.
In a trib.
Right in the mouth. It was. I guess it would still be considered the Great Lakes. It was the Great Lakes. Yes, Great Lakes waters.
That's a pretty big fish, even for New York, though.
Oh, that's I'm not downplaying it at all. I'm just saying. I'm just trying to make the point that like
doesn't mean as much.
And even I remember someone. I think my buddy Jeremy texted me when he saw the picture, because I might not have said, and wherever he saw the picture, he maybe didn't read the caption, or I didn't say where it was, and he texted me and was like, he thought I caught it in New Jersey, and he was like staining his pants over it, and then when I kind of told him it was Jersey. A New York fish, he was like, oh. It's still a pretty nice fish. I'm like, dude, come on. Am I going to get it?
Is that what they're going to do to me if I ever get a double-digit tog? Like, are they? Oh, where'd you get it? Cape May. Oh, Cape May. Oh, okay.
Well, see, and that's where I get where they're coming from, is what I was talking about. But then when it comes like whether you go out of like, depending what reef you fish in New Jersey, like I don't know, with salt water, like it's all the ocean. I don't know. I think you kind of lose me there. Just like the stripers, like we have, I think like New Jersey has at least comparable striper fishery to like the Chesapeake Bay region now, at least most of the season.
Don't we have them beat? Like, aren't we the best of the best now?
Maybe, but I didn't want to say it because I'm not 100% sure.
We have Chuck Manny, so we are the best. I know,
but he does sometimes go over there to fish too at certain times of the year. So that's why I left it like that, some gray area. But
all right, I got to get every time. The more I sit here and stare at that fucking skateboard, I just get infuriated, because that's my skateboard. Old School Outdoors, if you're watching this, that's my skateboard. He stole it.
Where do you? It came to my address with my name on it, and Max has yours.
That was done in error. You didn't even want one. I offered to buy you your own. You turned it down and then stole mine. Unbelievable. Old School Outdoors. I'm tagging you in this episode.
We can make a trade.
For what? I have nothing to give.
You do have nothing that I'm interested in, so never mind.
All right. Next week's guest, we're off. It's Memorial Day weekend. we're not recording an episode. So we're going to release the 100th episode with the secret guest. We're finally letting it out. It'll be out one day next week. For everyone coming on the Gambler tomorrow, let's all have fun. Please try to control yourself and don't break anything on the boat, and stay on the boat at all times. No one leave the craft.
Oh, God.
Me and Chris are still going to figure out how we're going to give the Palmaris rod away. I don't like biggest fish because the biggest fish is going to win the pool and get all the money, and he's not getting the money and the pole. That's not happening.
Yeah, no.
If you catch the smallest sea bass and can prove it, you win the Mike K giveaway. He's going
to be there, right?
He's going to be there. You bring Mike K over to sea bass. You show it to him, throw it back. If he proves it was the smallest sea bass of the day caught, you're going to win the Mike K bundle.
So literally, anyone on that boat that catches a very small sea bass, you need to take that sea bass, go find where Mike K is on the boat, show it to him. He's going to measure it like on his hand or something and keep track of it.
And the prize is, I think it's 24 farm fresh eggs from Mike K's farm. It's a really nice cutting board that his father makes real nice fish cutting boards, and 4 different jars of like power bait salmon eggs from Sporting Life. So yeah, that's Mike K bundle, and that's how he wants you to win. Mike K has a broken knee right now. He can't move. He might be in a wheelchair on the Gambler if I have to wheel him on there. So you're going to have to find the guy on crutches and just bring him all your small sea bass. We also have a surprise for everyone coming that we're going to give away. It's going to be awesome. So I can't wait. We have to get off this next week. We're going to release the 100th episode that Chris says isn't the 100th episode, but it's coming out, and you'll see who the special guest is. I feel like I had to say something else.
You can't just skip the 100th episode and then shove it wherever you want at your own convenience.
Well, I'm on vacation. Also, it's our podcast. We could do whatever we want, and we could title anything what we want.
All right. You got me. That's true.
All right. Gambler, tomorrow morning, if you're watching this, 6 a.m., carpool if you can. Gambler's parking. If I ever did have to make... me and Chris don't bullshit too much on here. We're fairly pretty honest with everything. If I had to ever make a complaint about Gambler, it would be their parking. There is kind of a strange parking situation with the Gambler where it's like 6 really long lanes and everyone blocks each other in. So when the trip is leaving at 6 a.m., you really have to be there earlier, on time. And if possible, you got to try to carpool. Like, if somebody lives nearby, jump in the car together. There's no point in taking 80 cars down there. But we will see everyone in the morning and enjoy the 100th episode. We'll be back in 2 weeks.
And suffer for the sea bass.